Hi everyone, good to see you again. Today, we are at the last lecture, lecture number 14, the counseling profession. Thank you for listening and watching the video lecture so far. We are now finally at the last lecture. Our textbook consists of the many chapters, and I had to select some chapters from the textbook. And we have, usually the college consists of 16-week based, taking out the midterm and the final. And actually, we have 14 different lectures. And I remember our textbook has like 19 different chapters. So today, as a final lecture, I wanted to introduce a little bit of my experience as a school counselor because our textbook introduced three different the counseling profession. The first one was a school counselor. The second one is a community agency counselor or mental health worker. The final thing was the student affairs, like 입학사정관 in Korean. And as I was a school counselor, I focused a little bit more my experience while working as a school counselor in school setting. And we wanted to then wrap up the whole class. Let's take a look at the lecture objective for today. Identify the characteristics of the school counseling compared to the therapeutic counseling. We learned about the difference between counseling and therapy. And also we talked about the difference with the guidance. And the school counseling profession covers more around the guidance and counseling, and therapeutic counseling covers on the right side on the counseling and psychotherapy. So we will talk about some difference. Describe school counselor's role in terms of the ASCA national model. Well, Korean society developed the school counseling system in 2005. So it's a pretty new profession in Korean society. However, in the United States, it has much longer history of the school counseling profession. And now it's about it's 10 years ago, and American society, they tried to develop some national school counseling model. The ASCA is the acronym of American School the Counselor Association. That is the major the body in school counseling. So they developed the kind of standardized the national model. That is the well and advanced model in school counseling. So I wanted to introduce and I will explain the school counselor's role based on that model, and explain a variety of school counseling issues and professional training and ethical legal issues and collaboration and some other related issue. And also I worked as a community counseling agency as well. So I also explain a little bit my experience of working at the community counseling agency or mental health, the counselor. The first one, school counseling, is different from the therapeutic counseling because it is developmental. If you visit any school in the United States, you will see a school counselor there, even elementary level, middle and high school. For example, in high school, usually like 3 to 5 or more than 5 school counselors are working in the high school. Usually one school counselor in elementary level. That is different from the Korean school. So the students in the elementary are different from the students in middle and high school. We also talked about the developmental characteristics based on their developmental issue. So school counseling is pretty developmental because they are showing very diverse developmental characteristics. And also school counseling is pretty preventive because therapeutic counseling is more reaction to a client's symptom. They start counseling once they have a client, And we never see a client before client visit the counseling or clinic. However, in school, we always see student even though they don't show some symptom. We can prevent. We can have some proactive role. We can prevent their problem before they show some problem. So school counseling is more proactive and preventive compared to the therapeutic counseling, and also comprehensive. Usually when we talked about the areas of school counseling, we show some 3 different areas, like academic issue, their personal/social issue, and also some career issue. So when working as a school counselor, we always take care of these issues in a broad way. So it's pretty comprehensive profession, and also educational, a variety of group activities and classroom guidance activities. School counselors in the United States even visit the classroom to give a lecture, like a classroom teacher. There is no 도덕 or 윤리 과목 in the United States, so school counselors teach some value-related lesson as a classroom guidance activity. So the school counselor's job is pretty educational. So this is characteristics of the school counseling. And based on the ASCA national model, these are the school counselor's responsibility or school counselor's role. So let me explain what the school counselors are doing in the school setting. The first one is the guidance curriculum. Based on the guidance curriculum, they visit classroom to deliver some guidance activity. For example, they develop some 5-session self-esteem development issue, development like a lecture. So they visit the classroom and they give a lecture like a classroom teacher. They also prepare some parents or teachers workshop, because school counselor, they learn more about communication than classroom teacher. So, school counselors prepare some workshop for the teacher. How can the teachers communicate better with the parents? Also, school counselor can also prepare some workshop about the parenting style, any other issue. So guidance curriculum includes some classroom activity, also some workshop. Individual student planning, it's individual or small group advising and various testing and assessment. We talked about some testing and assessment in order to measure some characteristics of the student. So that is the part of the student planning activity, because based on that result, we can develop some strategies to achieve their personal goal. For example, based on the result of their interest and career inventory, or their study skill, we can provide some consultation. Well, based on this result, you showed some strong interest in this area. How about going and majoring these types of things in college? So that some career issue is also related with the individual student planning. And one of the major difference between Korean schools and United States school is in particular high school. In Korean school, the students just stay in the classroom, and teachers, they visit it in different subject matter. Different teachers visit the classroom. So basically, their schedule is almost the same. However, in the United States, in high school, they go around and they select the schedule. And each student has very different schedule, like a college student in Korea. So the school counselor's role is to help the student to design and develop the good schedule. So that is one of the school counselor's job at middle and high school. Responsive service. This is typical like a counseling when they have a problem, when they visited the counseling office. The school counselor provide individual counseling or group counseling, and also peer counseling as well. The peer counseling is a method of using the peer. Like in the middle school, we can train middle school students to be a counselor, not real counselor, but like a peer helper. Sometimes it's called a peer facilitator. So they help other students because they communicate with well, other, they have also share their peer concern and types of things. So we can, as a counselor, develop some peer counseling system. System support. System support is a kind of activity and any types of preparation to enhance and facilitate all the counseling activity, like a professional development activity. For example, if I want to learn more about Gestalt therapeutic techniques, I will take some lessons and I will participate some workshop about the particular skill. And that professional activity will increase my expertise. And ultimately that increased expertise will increase my expertise with the student. So that will be, as a result, will be working as a system support. And also the school counselor want to evaluate the whole school counseling system, how these types of 5-session program is working well or not. So evaluation of the program, that will be the system support as well. So the roles of the counselor is pretty comprehensive, right? Compared to the therapeutic counselor in counseling small office, they usually do like individual or group. But the counselor who is working in the school, they visit the classroom, they make a workshop, they also provide the consultation, individual and group counseling. It's a very comprehensive job. School counseling issue. I put some practical issue here, professional training. For example, for the school counselor in the United States requires 48 credit master degree in general. However, we have the school counselor from 2005. It's called the 전문 상담교사 in Korea. It requires 18 credit non-degree program right now. So we see some discrepancy between two different training programs. And I hope the expertise and their professionalism will be increased by increasing the training. But right now we see some difference anyway. Ethical and legal issue. We talked about this at a different lecture. Confidentiality, is one of the important ethical concept in counseling. So we always want to keep the secret in the relationship with the client. But sometimes it's really hard and tricky when working in school, because the school counselor also work as an educator. So they wanted to teach something. So sometimes they feel they have to let the parents know. So that is pretty tricky and sometimes a dilemma in confidentiality, in particular in school setting compared to the private setting. Dual relationship, because as I said, school counselors sometimes visit the classroom. In that setting, the counselor worked as like a teacher's role. However, if a counselor sees the same client in the individual setting, it will be kind of individual counseling mode. So the counselor would see the one client in different setting, and that will result in creating some dual relationship. So that's another the issue in school. And also in collaboration with teachers, because in school there are many helping professionals are working together. For example, like a school counselor is one of them, and special education teacher, and social worker, school psychologist, and school nurse. they are all the helping professional. So when they work together, they require some consultation, collaboration, and working as a team. So these are the specific counseling issues in school. However, the roles of community counseling agency and mental health are a little bit different. If you look at here, case manager, they develop the treatment plan and manage the case. The treatment plan is well prepared strategies, kind of manual for the particular client. Okay, so case manager, when work as a case manager, they develop the treatment plan, which include whole specific information for the particular client. I will upload the treatment plan as a sample on the website, so please take a look at what it looked like. And also appraiser of client need. Sometimes, you know, the counselor in the community setting, they only focus on testing and assessment. So they sometimes work as appraiser of the client need. And sometimes they work as a counselor, like provide therapeutic counseling, including family counseling. School counselor doesn't provide the family counseling. They provide the family consultation, for example, some information of a student to the parent, but not really school counselor invite all family members together in the counseling office. That is the typical situation in the community counseling. Sometimes work as a consultant and sometimes work as a supervisor. We talked about the supervision, right? So as a supervisor, we provide some evaluative the information to the supervisee in order to increase the supervisee's the skills and their expertise. So you see some similarity and also some differences compared to the school counseling. I just cut and paste here. This is the website, one menu from the website, the place where I worked as an intern. It's called the Northwestern Human Service in Pennsylvania. This is the community counseling agency. I worked as a consultant there, so my job was to develop some treatment plan for the client and train some supervisee. And so I worked as a supervisor, and sometimes I evaluate the student progress and regression by observing students in the classroom setting. But my role was confined and limited a certain activity. But the websites show what types of diverse services they are providing, like addictive disease and autism, educational and intellectual disability, juvenile justice, mental health, and even foster care and adoption. So the community counseling agency provide very diverse service as well. So I just wanted to show some example when I worked as the community counselor. The last slide shows, you know, the settings of community agency and mental health counselor. That was my particular experience. If you look at here, we see very diverse the work setting and career employment agency. We can work as a counselor there, community mental health center, correctional facilities and family service, even army, a private setting, and religious as a residential, like a dormitory, and substance abuse, and YMCA, like a youth service agency, and rehabilitation services. So actually the counselor work at so many different settings. And today I explain my experience as a school counselor and community counseling. So, you know, when I was, I started my profession as a teacher after teaching 3 years. And I realized there are so many students who have some disorder. We talked about abnormal development, right? And I felt I don't have any expertise of helping them. I wanted to have more knowledge about them. That's why I wanted to study the counseling at the moment after 3 years of teaching. And I I started counseling in United States. My major was school counseling at the moment. That was about 1997. So after learning about the school counseling, after working as an internship, I came back to the Korea again. I worked as a school counselor for 5 years. And as I explained, it was a pretty comprehensive job. I visited the classroom. I gave many different activities, and for example, study skills program, and building confidence program, and controlling impulsivity program. And also I provided many individual counseling. I shared some of my experience throughout the session, throughout the lectures, and it was really fun, and I was very really enjoyed working there, and I wanted to have the better knowledge and expertise in counseling, in particular school. So I went back to the United States again, and at the moment I had an experience of working at the community counseling center as an internship, as a community counseling setting. It was a little bit different role. I didn't really visit the classroom, but I worked with the client as a kind of a consultant. So see the parents, provide information, evaluate the student progress, and train some the supervisee. So that was a little different role. And now I'm teaching as a counselor educator, who is the trained person who want to be a counselor. So I just wanted to explain a little bit, example from my past experience. As you see from the textbook, there are many different professions in counseling field. The school counseling is only one of them. And mental health and community is very broad. And so you can have better understanding by reading the textbook, and also many other professions related as well. So I hope this lecture will give just kind of, stimulation and framework for you to explore more in depth by yourself. So we talked about the whole counseling issue over the 14 different lectures. How was it? Is that something that you expected in the beginning of the semester? Well, I developed this course for the undergraduate student to introduce the counseling profession in general. I don't really expect you want to be a counselor because it's only undergraduate level in general class. So my lecture was pretty simple and just a little bit informative. I hope this types of lecture will give you some clue and some facilitate your understanding. I believe this class would be a little bit, challenging because it is English class. It was also challenging to me because, I'm not a native speaker of English because, I just learned English from middle school. So it was also challenging, and it was my first time for me to develop this course in global online. But I was really enjoyed, acting with you throughout the website. I hope you have enjoyed this class. Please, use this experience of taking this class in your setting, because counseling is not only profession, but also is some skills and framework you can utilize this information in your life. So I hope this whole class will help you to understand others and yourself. Thank you so much for your participation for the whole class. And if you have any question about the class, just post your question. And thank you so much for the whole the class. And see you and take care.